Welcome, folks, to our newest Tech Talk with the GIS Trek. Well, this week, or this session, this video, we're not necessarily with the GIS Trek. We're all together here, but our presenter is Wilma Robertson, who has been so active in GIS in Idaho for quite a long time. And she has agreed to do a presentation on Survey123, teach us how to use this and leverage that technology. And she and we, as part of a group of some of the projects we're working on for the state, we're probably going to be doing some more presentations as part of the Tech Talk series. I will also let you know that our next Tech Talk has already been slated, and that is with John Sherrard from Esri, and he's going to be talking about what's new with ArcGIS Pro 2.6. So that's going to be exciting, and that's going to be coming up in just a couple of weeks. You'll all see an invitation and some announcements for that. But what we have today is super exciting, Survey123, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Wilma.
Okay, well, thank you. Glad you could all join me, and I'm going to turn my video off now. So, all right. So I want to talk about Survey123 Connect, and because this is a fairly short time to talk about Survey123, I'm just trying to hit a couple of highlights. Let me go to the next slide here. Specifically, I'd like to talk about Survey123 Connect. I know that some of you have used Survey and like to use the online Survey123 Connect, but I wanted to show you how the online survey creator, but I wanted to show you how the Connect works. So I have two examples. Then I want to show you how to share a survey. And then I would like to point you to the sample templates, which are really an awesome way to try and figure out on how to do something new and just have your example right there, or almost have your survey partially built for you. So for the first example, I'm going to show you a little bit about this survey here, the metadata, just do it, which, you know, spoiler alert, will probably come your way pretty soon, since we're working on that with the IGC EC. And let me start first to say that there's like different ways to create a survey. You can either use the web designer, which you can access from the Survey123 website, or you can use the Survey123 Connect, which is a desktop application that you will need to download. So this video right here, and I've included quite a few videos because I am kind of leery about my internet connection. To download it, you go to the Survey123 website, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you can go ahead and download the Survey123 Connect app right there. So either the 64-bit or the 32-bit right there. And as we were scrolling through, you probably noticed that there was a lot of information that we just quickly passed through. It is worthwhile exploring that. There's little videos there and a lot of information to kind of help you get started as well. All right, so we've downloaded the Connect. Let me just go to the next slide here. So I'd like to sort of show you what this survey looks like, and then we'll just start building that particular survey. So it's this what about metadata survey, and let me just show you what's in there. We'd like to determine people's attitudes about metadata. There's some notes, green notes along the top. It asks you for your experience, your title. If you type in another title, it will ask you what that is, and just a bunch of questions about your metadata use. Some of those questions allow you to answer one answer. Some of them allow you to check more than one option. And so the survey, the first one that I'd like to look at, we need to change the title of the survey, sort of metadata, just do it. You may have noticed that some notes are in green. I would like to show you multiple choice questions with only one answer possible and multiple answers. And then I also like to show you how to do the other ones. So when somebody selected other for title, only then another question shows up. And that's actually a very powerful thing of Survey123, where you can create surveys with a lot of questions in them, but still make it not overwhelming for the people taking the survey, because they're only really being targeted with those questions that pertain to them based on answers that they previously gave in that same survey. When you start up Survey123 Connect, you will need to sign in with your ArcGIS Online user account. And here's my demo. Start by clicking on New Survey. Start by giving it a name. I typically like to start with the advanced template, and then click on Create Survey. You can see it has an example text question and a multiple choice question, and you can also see that the survey title has not been set. To control the survey, we need to open up the Excel spreadsheet that corresponds to the survey. So all the questions and possible answers to multiple choice questions, as well as the appearance, is all controlled by an Excel spreadsheet. I think it's worthwhile to sort of look through the spreadsheet first to get an overall sense of what is available to you here. So on the first worksheet called Survey, you can see that each line in the spreadsheet corresponds to one of the questions. So this right here is a text question. You have different choices. For this example, we will be using the list select one, select multiple, and the note. But of course, since we're GIS people, we really like to put in the geopoints, traces, and shapes. And then the list is quite long. I mean, you can use barcodes. The begin and end groups are a way for you to organize your survey. You can put in repeats. So, for example, people can enter in information about a picture and then choose to add another and another and another. Usernames, emails, barcodes. I think there's a lot into that. Audio. Many of them I have not had a chance to use yet. But let's just start with just a couple of simple things. Since I only have about 20 minutes, I can only show so much. But hopefully I can show you enough that you feel comfortable to start exploring more yourself if you have not already played around with this. So for the second question here, we have a select one, and then it has a list name of yes, no. All the answers to those multiple choice questions are controlled on the Choices tab. So here is the list name, yes, no, and see how that corresponds to this yes, no over here. Has all the different possible answers. The Settings tab is what controls the title of the survey. I am going to delete this immediately here because it will throw an error otherwise. But you can see survey title is not set. Survey title is not set. This is where we set the title of your survey. And I'll just call it your metadata survey. And then there's some release information about the version of Survey123 Connect that you're using. This is quite a helpful sheet. You won't make any changes here, but it does have a really nice little dictionary of different things that the survey does. So it's like a help sheet that's built in there. So let's go back to our first sheet. If I click Save, we can tell immediately if all goes well, and I move this out of the way. Once it converts it, you can see it has changed the name of your survey. So I think we're ready to put in some of our questions. What I like to do is go to the next slide. Okay. Start by clicking on New Survey. Okay. I'm advancing to the next slide because I just put in a a screen capture of the survey on the left, so you kind of know what we're working towards. I put a picture of a roasted bird here. It's like one of those cooking shows where it's like, oh, and now the chicken is done. Like, you know, they put it in and immediately pull it out. So we're just taking off again here with the example. I will start by deleting all the data that's already there. So the first 3 questions are really 3 different notes because they are not requiring an answer from your survey taker. Used type note. Each question needs to have a name, and you can not have spaces in the name. So later on, when you were to download this data, it seems sometimes the column headers are the name and sometimes the column headers are the label, depending on how you download it. But the name is sort of like the variable that will store an answer. But even though notes are not storing answers, you still need to give it a name. For the label, and this is the part I would like to show here. Here is the text, a survey to understand how people are using and creating metadata. To change the font color, I'm using tags, and so I'm using the font color tag where I set its property color to green. So I have a starting tag and I have an ending tag. To bold a word, I put in a B tag, and then after I want to stop having my font in bold, I just put in an ending bold tag. So if I save this, you can tell that my first note appeared on the survey. My first question asks how much GIS experience you have. So I've put in the name, GIS experience, and I typed out my question. So I need to figure out the type. So this is where I would like people to pick from a drop-down list. I would like them to make a selection from a list of options. And you can see that there's 2 options available. So select one from a list name or select multiple from a list name. Here it makes the most sense to have people pick just one. All right. So on my choices tab, I need to go ahead and type in all the different types of GIS experience that people can have, all the different answers to the question that I want to include in my survey. So I set up a list called GIS experience. Let me just go ahead and copy that. And it will provide those options. So I'll go back and I'm going to replace the word list name with GIS experience. And let me save it and see how that impacts my survey. I move my Excel spreadsheet out of the way. You can see that the question showed up. Another question on the survey asks you what your so here, again, I have a select one, and I'm picking it from a list called title. So if we go to the choices and I scroll up to title, you can see the list of choices there. One of the choices is other. So what I would like my survey to do is when my survey taker chooses other, I actually want another question to appear to ask them, well, what is your title? But if they pick one of the previous options, I don't want to ask that question. So what I am going to do is put in my question to find out what the other title is. And so I'll call it question 2A and I'll call it other title. But I only want it to appear when my title answer is other. So I'll go ahead and copy this because I will be needing this soon. When you scroll to the right in your spreadsheet, and let me resize this just a little bit and move it over so you can see it better. one of the options is relevance. Relevant. So it's asking, is it relevant to show this question? If so, when? So what I am going to do, I'm going to say, well, I want to show this question when my title, that is the title that your survey taker indicated, is equal to other. So to refer back to the title, I put the title, and this is good where I copied it earlier, so now I'm pasting it, is equal to my answer, other. All right, so let me save that and we can test that out. I will move my screen out of the way. I have to scroll down a little bit. You can see that the question appeared. And now when I click other, it appears. If they click a different title, the question is no longer there. This is a powerful part of the survey where you can actually have quite a really long survey, but make it seem fairly short for your survey taker because you're basically just guiding them to the questions that are relevant to them. All right, so I'd like to show you guys another example. So in this case, I'd like to show you the pool data, which is, I think, pretty powerful, where you can store a spreadsheet like right with your survey on the device itself, which is nice if they go out in the field and they're in an area without any cell coverage, then they will still have this information with them. So let me go ahead and do this demo right here. Okay, here I started up another survey. It is a pretty straightforward survey. It just asks for your name, your pet's name, the type of pet that you have, and then a comment. And this comment we want to pull from that Excel file that I was showing you earlier. This time I also included a geopoint so people can actually indicate where they live. This is how I set up the spreadsheet. A couple of new things compared to my previous example. You notice that the way that the answers are formatted is a little bit more compact than the previous survey. And I can control that through the appearance column. Also, my comment is going to be multi-line, and you can see that my comment box is just a little bit bigger. And where do you live? I have used the geopoint, and then people can indicate where they live. Okay, so now we get to the point where we would like to pull in the comment from this external table. So the information has to be stored in a CSV file, and it has to be stored with the survey in the media folder, which is actually fairly easy to find. You click on the files folder, then you enter the media folder, and you can see that I entered here my pet comments folder. So what I have here, let me pull this up here. For my pool data to work, I need to figure this out. This is the generic syntax. So I start my pool data function, and the first part is I need to indicate my CSV file, and it will look for that again in this media folder. Let me open up that table. All right. Then it's asking me, okay, from which column do you want to pull data? And this column is called comment_CSV. Then it needs to know how to look that up. And I'm saying, well, take a look at this name CSV column here. So look for Joe, Jill, and Dave, and then compare it to the name that was indicated in the survey. So people will type in a name, for example, Joe, then this will take the value of Joe, and it will go like, oh, it's Joe. And then it will look in this CSV table and go like, okay, well, the name CSV is Joe, so I am going to return this comment. So now we need to put this pull data function into our Excel worksheet. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to copy that. I would like this comment to appear in the comment line, and I need to go to the right until I see calculation. I'm going to paste it in there. I'll save this, and I'll see what it does to my survey. Let me just pull all this out of the way again. And let's just update it. Let's refresh it. All right, so if I type in Joe, you can see that my comment automatically appears. So this has quite a lot of possibilities at Water Resources. When I was still working there, we would use this to bring in like old data. So for example, for a flow meter, people would be in the field, they would type in the ID number for this flow meter, and it would immediately pull up the owner, what type it is, the serial number that was already on record. And that way people, instead of having to type in information again and again when they're doing inspections, they can basically just do quality control on data that you already have. Okay, and so once you create your survey and publish your survey, you'll need to share it, and this is controlled from the Survey123 website. The icon that you're looking for is the little globe here, or a lock. That's sort of the icon indicates the current sharing level. And let's see, make sure that you look both at the share survey, which in this case is shared with everyone, as well as the share results, which you can, for example, set to just share with a group. So not the entire world can look at your results, but you might just want to keep that more in-house. And then finally, I can not strongly recommend this when you're trying to figure out something new, to use those samples. And also when you click at community, there's a lot of surveys already out there that other people have built and they shared here, so you can just kind of piggyback on their efforts. Sometimes you might have a survey that you like, for example, data you collected in 2019 and now you want to collect the same type of data in 2020. You can make a copy of your survey from last year, which is just an empty survey again, and you can start collecting data for this year. So let me show you some examples here. Appearances is a really, really nice one. I think in a little bit I'll click on that and show it, but it shows you, how to add XY coordinates to your spreadsheet and have the little geopoints sort of fall right on the coordinates that you've indicated. The appearances is a nice one. And this right here kind of highlights all the different ways that your survey can look and the way you can organize it. So I thought that was a good place to end this presentation. So with that, I try to keep it at about 20 minutes, but I think we still have a couple of minutes for questions.